triathlon gear. What do you need and how much is going to cost you? Let's get into this. Alright, so in the simplest forms of it, really what you need for triathlon is a pair of goggles and a swimsuit, a bicycle helmet, a road bike, something similar to this one over here. In reality, any bike will do, but I'd recommend a road bike. And last but not least, a pair of running shoes. If you're going to just do one triathlon, this might work for you, but if you're going to take your triathlon a bit more seriously and go for some of the longer distance events, you're probably going to need a bit more kit, and we're going to get into that later on in this video. Alright, so as I said, if you want to get a bit more serious about your triathlon, you're probably going to need a bit more than a pair of goggles and a Speedo for the swim section. What I would say is most triathlons have an open water swim, and typically for an open water swim you probably need to get yourself a swimming wetsuit, something similar to this. This is an entry-level wetsuit, put me back about 130, 140 pounds a couple of years ago. So I definitely put a bit of, you're definitely going to have to invest in one of these. One of the things I would say is, if you're new to triathlon, you're probably going to be carrying a little bit of extra weight around with you. So your wetsuit you buy in your first season might not fit you in your second or third season. So don't go and buy the most expensive wetsuit you can find off the bat. Buy yourself a relatively cheap one, and then if you really get into it, a few seasons down the line, you can get yourself a more expensive wetsuit. Another thing that I would also recommend is a pool buoy for the pool. Great for your drill sessions. Adding to that, you'd probably want to get yourself one of these little gadgets also. This is called a Finis tempo trainer. Effectively set it to a specific time, and each lap you do, the device will beep. You stick it under your swimming cap over here. This is a great little tool for lap swimming. It stops you from setting off too fast or slowing down too much. You swim to a good tempo, and this device is a great little useful tool. All right, and now for the most expensive and probably the biggest part, and that is the bike. Now obviously everybody would probably want a triathlon style bike like this, and a aero helmet like this, but in reality it's not something that that you really need, especially if you're starting off. So really a normal road bike like that one over there and a normal helmet should do you just fine for your first year or so in triathlon. I would say once you are happy and you enjoy triathlon and it's something you want to do, then maybe invest in something like this. It's far more important, getting your body fit and strong to be able to do triathlon, rather than spending loads of money on some equipment that it's not really going to give you any benefit if you can't really use it properly. Some things I would say you definitely need to get is definitely get yourself a bike computer. This is a Garmin 1000, does everything I need and more. A heart rate monitor, connects seamlessly with the Garmin, and some cycling shoes that you'll clip into your pedals. Just gives you a far better cycling experience. You use your leg in the whole entire pedal stroke, rather than just a push down when you don't have cycling shoes and the relevant cleats and pedals to go along with it. A couple of other things I would say is some cycling clothes, you know, you can spend well over, you can spend a lot of money on the cycling clothes. So all in all, with a standard bike, standard set of cycling shoes, get some that are comfortable. The last thing you want is to come off the bike to run a long run and have numb feet from bad fitting cycling shoes. You're probably looking about £800. That'll be a decent road bike, decent pair of shoes. Maybe you'd be able to get a bike computer for that also. So there we go. We all want something like this to start off with, but it's not really necessary. Something else I would say is definitely, from my perspective, a requirement is a turbo trainer, a smart turbo trainer like that. The amount of training that you can do indoors, and you know, it's so much more efficient. You get power readings, you get everything out of it. So definitely, I would rather get a good turbo trainer before I buy a TT bike, just because you're going to get so much more benefit out of it. Okay, so now obviously, we've done the swim, done the bike. Now we have a look at the run. So the run, from my perspective, is probably going to be your most cost-effective sport in triathlon. However, it's not just a case of getting a pair of running shoes. So what I like is I like to have a good watch. This is a Garmin 735 XT. It's actually a triathlon watch. This watch does swimming, biking and running, and from a running perspective, it's got GPS, cadence sensors, a whole various different raft of metrics that you probably won't use most of them, but it's great to have. Another great thing is it's got my heart rate monitor. Definitely need a heart rate monitor for your running. It's one of the main metrics that we use. I normally have 2 pairs of shoes. So these are my long run shoes. These shoes are my everyday runners. You know, comfy shoes, the ones I put most of my miles in. And then I've got at the moment another pair of shoes. These are my race shoes. These are lightweight. They've got a bit of a carbon plate in them, but I typically have about 2 pairs of shoes going at once, and that's because you need to let your shoes rest, and also you don't want to do all of your general running in your expensive racing shoes. So typically, if I'd say you're doing about 4 runs a week, I'd say maybe 3 are in your standard runners, and maybe 1 tempo session or something along those lines would be in your racing shoes. A couple of other things that I like is I have a treadmill also, and you've probably seen these little gadgets on my shoes. These are called foot pods, and what those foot pods do is they actually integrate with my treadmill, which is over here, and allows me to run virtually in the virtual world. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a treadmill, but I would definitely recommend getting a treadmill, especially if you are going for more of the long distance triathlon, like half Ironman. It just saves you so much time. So with regards to the costs for running, you know, for a decent pair of shoes, you're probably looking at about 100 to 150 pounds. I've got two on it a go. Run watch, you know, you're probably gonna looking at about 400 or 500 pounds for the shoes and the running watch and the heart rate monitor. Okay, just a couple of other things then. So we've done the swim, the bike, and the run now. There's a few miscellaneous things that you probably don't think of from a triathlon perspective. The more you get into triathlon, you might want to get yourself a tri suit. This is a great little bit of kit. You put it on under your wetsuit before you go out. Then as you come into transition, you just take your wetsuit out. This has got a bit of padding in. You jump straight onto your bike. You don't have to get changed into anything else. Then when you come back from the bike, you just rack up your bike, put your helmet, etc. And go get your running shoes out, and then you're running this. So each transition you don't have to get changed into different outfit. This is a really nice one, a Roka seamless design. This is going to set you back probably about 150 quid or so. Another thing is definitely going to want some sunnies for your run and your bike. Obviously not the swim. For your bike, you might want to get yourself a little hydration system like this, and a few bento boxes for any sort of nutrition, etc. And then last but not least, one of the other major costs that you'll be looking at is, if you go for a high carbohydrate approach, the nutrition and fueling for triathlon, especially the longer distances, can be significant. I personally go for a low carb, high fat approach now, but when I was doing high carb racing, I would spend anywhere between 20 and 30 pounds a week on gels and other types of energy drinks, etc. If you think about it, if you're taking on 60 grams of carbohydrate an hour and there's 20 grams in a gel, that's 3 gels an hour. If you go for a 3-hour ride, you've got 9 gels just for a 3-hour ride. It's a massive amount of carb, and it's definitely quite a significant cost that goes along with that. Okay, great. I hope that kind of gives you an overview of the equipment that you need for triathlon, especially the longer distance triathlons. It is quite an expense. You can obviously cut some of these things out, especially the TT bike. You don't have to get 1,000-pound zip wheels. You don't have to get pedal-based power meters. You don't have to get the latest and greatest swimming stuff. You can do it a bit cheaper, but there is some stuff out there that I think you definitely need. Alright, so great, thanks a lot guys. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Also, if you want to have a look at our services, you can go look at www.evolutiontoironman.com. It's our website, or you can visit my my Facebook page, which is Evolution to Ironman on Facebook. All right, thanks a lot. Paul Lagrange, Evolution to Ironman, out of here.